Hello, everyone, and welcome to another iteration of Observation Reactions, where today is a very exciting day because we have just gotten a brand new trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is very, very exciting. Reid, how are you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank you for having me.
uh, we got a teaser trailer for Shang-Chi 2 months ago, back in April. It was very,
Mhm.
very. We didn't do a reaction for that, but we're going to do a reaction for this.
Well, I think that was also before we even started our podcast.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that
So
was
cut
that
it, cut us some slack. We can go back in time. Yeah.
That's true. That was back in our test episode days. How we've grown since then, for the better, I'd say. So yeah, this is, I put this on my top 5 most anticipated movies of this year. You didn't, but I know you're looking forward to it very much as well.
It's a Marvel movie. It's gonna be good. I
Absolutely.
I don't know the character that well. I think that's why I didn't rank it as high. But maybe this trailer will change my mind. Who's to
Yeah,
say?
yeah. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. And the teaser looked outstanding. So very excited for this. Um, yeah, let's just jump into it.
Sure.
Throughout my life, the Ten Rings gave our family power. If you want them to be yours one day, you have to show me you are strong enough to carry them.
You are a product of all who came before you. The legacy of your family. You are your mother. And whether you like it or not, you are also your father.
I told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried. Glad I was right.
You're just a criminal who murders people.
Be careful how you speak to me, boy.
I thought I could change my name, start a new life. But I could never escape his shadow.
My son, you can't run from your past.
Is this what you wanted?
You got this.
Thank you.
What?
There he is. He's back.
Who's that?
That's Abomination, my friend.
That's Abomination. Oh, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. You look like a lizard man. I feel like I can't get a good
Yeah, if you go back
look
to
at him,
like
but
150 around there.
yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm at 151.
Yeah, that is Abomination from the Incredible Hulk.
Whoa,
Uh,
that is
didn't
an interesting tie-in.
yeah, didn't think we would see him
Think
again,
that was the
honestly.
branch that the MCU was going to use to connect Shang-Chi to the rest of.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I will say this. I shouldn't say this is a complete surprise because we did know that we were going to see Abomination again because Tim Roth was announced to return for the She-Hulk series next year. But I guess he's going to play a bigger part than just a supporting character in that because he's going to be fighting Shang-Chi in this movie. So that's very exciting because
Cage match.
yeah. So, that is very exciting, I must say. But overall, I gotta say, great trailer.
Yeah, no, it seems really exciting.
Yeah.
I find it funny that we're like freaking out about Abomination, which took place about 20 seconds after they show a literal dragon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, initial reaction, great trailer. Although I don't know that it's gotten me any more hyped than I was coming out of the teaser. We got a decent amount of new footage, but it was mostly just other moments from scenes that we saw, briefly from the teaser a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Which is nothing wrong with that, because I mean that teaser was fantastic. And this just kind of mostly just carries the hype on its current course. But yeah, super excited for Shang-Chi. What do you think? Your just first thoughts coming out of it?
Well, I will say, in reaction to the trailer versus the teaser, I mentioned there wasn't that much footage different, but this one does seem to show off a lot more of what the rings actually are and what they
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
We resaw that same scene where he kind of does the like energy punch, I
yeah,
guess. But we've also seen that you can shoot the rings out almost like a magic electro whip type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, kind of like that.
So I have no idea how that's going to work. How these artifacts or powers, if you can call them that, what the mechanics are.
Yeah,
I think we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure it'll be explained or shown. Um, Although it looks like they can be controlled by multiple people at once, given that last shot, whereas Shang-Chi versus his father, and you see the blue versus yellow energy.
mm.
Um, yeah, I don't know, but what do you think about the rings? Because that's probably what stood out to me most is that we're seeing more of it, but I still don't really know what they are or what they do, and I'm
Yeah,
really curious.
yeah. Well, that was something that I was going to bring up. Is I'm still kind of undecided about how I feel with the direction they've taken with the rings themselves, because in the comics and also in the Iron Man animated series, which was kind of, the most prominent version of the Mandarin we've seen on screen yet, short of Iron Man 3, which is, of course, December
Boo.
Slattery, the fake Mandarin. The rings are, they're actual, rings, like the rings you wear on your finger,
Yeah.
but and they were really cool in the Iron Man animated series. But I can understand why perhaps the MCU would want to go in a different direction, because of course we just had the Infinity Gauntlet, and they don't want to get audiences confused with all these different kinds of mystical super powerful jewelry. And so I can understand why they might want to turn them from rings into bracelets.
Yeah, and
But
also just not change the name because Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets does not sound nearly as cool.
Exactly, exactly. But a part of me does wish they had just kept them as rings, just because, the bracelets, they're cool, but I don't know, they look a little, it's very CGI heavy, and it just they look a little fakey compared to what you could achieve with just, practical, practical rings and just having effects emanating out of those. Um
Yeah, how did the what did the rings look like in the animated series? And like how did those function versus
well, yeah, well, they were
super
pretty much just like, they're pretty much just silver rings with, like, with crystal inlays, and they were all color coded, to their various abilities, like, the Infinity Stones. And each one of them, all 10 of them, could do different things, have different effects.
Oh, yeah. So
So
for that reason I can see why they'd want to differentiate.
yeah,
But with the direction they've chosen, it just seems to be like a power amplifier.
yeah,
So you can hit people really strong. And you still could have done that with actual like rings on your fingers instead
yeah.
of bracelets.
It's true, yeah, yeah. And so, while I can understand why they wanted to go in a different direction. But yeah, I do wonder about the CGI bracelets, just because I mean you can tell that those are effects that aren't existing in real space, and they're just added on afterwards. Um, but other than that, yeah, I will say this for the new Mandarin, the real Mandarin we're getting in this movie. I love how, I believe Tony Leung is the actor who's playing the Mandarin in this one, and I just love how he exudes this kind of quiet menace, because that is just so much of what the Mandarin is. He is just, he wields immense power, but he's very soft spoken, and he doesn't need to say a lot in order to elicit terror in the people who oppose him. Oh, sorry, timeout. Reid, I can't hear. I can't hear you.
How about now?
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you're back. All right,
Yeah, I should
time
probably
in,
just
I guess.
replace this mic.
Mm. Yeah, no, I'm sorry to constantly be going on about the mic. It's just,
No,
yeah, I
that's totally fine.
just want to let you know. Okay, uh, where was I? Oh yeah, Quiet Menace. All right,
Yeah, just you can just pick up. It's fine.
yeah, time in. And so, yeah, I think he's doing a great job with his portrayal of the Mandarin. That may be, I mean, I think that this Mandarin really has the potential to be one of the better, certainly, if not the best. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say the best, but among the best MCU villains we've had so far. I'm really excited to see the Mandarin introduced into this universe. Yeah, my slight quibbles with the design of the bracelets aside, I think that he's going to be a really imposing villain. So excited for that.
Is he gonna be tied into the references of him in Iron Man 3? Are they gonna kind of connect that or explain that?
Yeah,
Like
well,
he was just a legend, but people didn't think the Mandarin was actually real. And
yeah,
then he
well,
shows up and starts, kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, well, that's the thing actually, is after Iron Man 3, I think this came out a few months afterwards. One of the very few, if not maybe the only time Marvel did this, they did like a little short after the fact, which was an MCU adjacent short, it was like a 15-minute thing called I think it was Long Live the King or something like that, where the
I remember
Mandarin,
seeing that.
yeah, the Mandarin sends one of his agents, essentially to I guess, break Trevor Slattery, the fake Mandarin, out of prison because the real Mandarin wants to meet him and he wants his name back. And so we know that this real Mandarin has been very real and operating in the shadows for some time, and now he's just kind of, I guess, not even emerging, but this is how his kind of underground criminal empire is now being tied into broader Marvel events through Shang-Chi, as now Shang-Chi is brought back into the family business. But yeah, no, it's the real Mandarin has been established for some time. Um, and yeah, has presumably some choice words for Trevor. Although I don't think we'll see Ben Kingsley again. He's
Oh,
probably,
probably not.
yeah,
He's dead.
he's done.
He's gone. He's just taken care of.
Yeah, yeah. As fun as that would be, I think he's finished. But yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, given that they brought back Abomination, maybe they will just show him like in a jail cell or something. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I have to say it's too bad for Hulk. I mean, you had that terrible Ang Lee Hulk movie from like 2003 where he was like a neon green and it was like a comic book, like comic
Yeah.
book transition that was horrible. And then you
Well,
had
I think the one with the comic book transition, that was an earlier one. That
Yeah,
wasn't the
yeah, that was the 2003 one, the Ang Lee one, where he was like a fluorescent green.
yeah,
Um,
yeah that predated the MCU.
yeah, the Ed Norton one from 2009, that one was better. But still, it's
Still not
like,
great.
yeah, it was definitely on the mediocre side of Marvel movies. I mean, it was good enough, and this was still Phase 1, so our standards were definitely lower than they are now. Yeah,
I feel like it's the most forgotten Marvel movie though.
oh, without a doubt, most people
Like
don't even
like
know it is part of the MCU.
yeah, I think people all agree that Thor: The Dark World is the worst, but they only say that because they forget that Hulk even had a movie.
Yeah, and it's so funny to me because between Avengers Endgame and now the Loki series, like the MCU is like working overtime to like overhaul Thor: The Dark World and make it like the most integral, the most integral film of the of the prior phases of the MCU because they keep
And
going
you
back,
still can't make me watch it. I will never watch it.
and
You hear
that's
me,
fine.
Marvel?
Yeah, and that's fine. I just find it so funny how they keep going back to that to explain to people why it's so important now, looking back. Because yeah, I mean it was, and it still wasn't a bad movie. It was just mediocre, which, I mean the bar is set so high for, a Marvel blockbuster that, you could still be pretty good, but not be good enough to be in that, that pantheon. And the same thing happened with the Incredible Hulk. It was pretty good, entertaining. Certainly by 2008, 2009 standards, but people kind of forget about it, especially because you had Mark Ruffalo playing the character going forward. The fact that it was a different actor with Ed Norton, people kind of disconnected from the rest of the MCU. So,
I mean, to be fair, they did pull that off with transitioning to Don Cheadle, who was
yeah,
a much better cast in my opinion too. But
yeah, but even in that case, that was a supporting character versus the title hero.
yeah, these days they definitely.
Yeah, so it's too bad how.
Facial recognition these days.
Mm. Yeah, it's too bad how Hulk kind of gets shunted into the, they only take him out of the drawer when they need him for like a Thor Ragnarok or something. But
Yeah.
but anyway, we're here to talk about Shang-Chi. This was as good of a trailer as it was, and I think it did its job. Um, One reason I was a little bit let down by, and this is for purely personal reasons I recognize, is because I really liked how in the teaser we got a lot of different shots of where this movie is going to be set, which is going to be at least half of it in San Francisco. The other half was going to be, in different mystical locations, and he goes back to China.
That's why I got Ant-Man and the Wasp vibes
Yeah,
from
same
some of the
city.
fight scenes because it's in. Oh my god. Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, no, and so I was hoping to get a little bit more of that. Shang-Chi's normal life and kind of how he gets pulled from his life and his existence in San Francisco back to China and the Mandarin and everything else. But we didn't get a ton of that in this. We got the cage match scene that we saw a bit of, like in that like nightclub at the very end. But other than that, it was mostly him when he was younger with his dad, and in the more mythical stuff. Um, and I personally was hoping to see more of the San Francisco stuff because as some of you may know out there, I recently actually visited San Francisco for the first time. Beautiful city. And while I was there, I actually had a chance to visit a lot of the locations that we know we're going to see featured in the movie. We went to Chinatown and Russian Hill and Ghirardelli Square and all those places. And actually, I wanted to show this off partly because it relates to Shang-Chi, but also mostly just because I think it's really cool. I bought this really cool Jade Dragon from this
Oh
awesome.
whoa,
Yeah,
that's so fun.
yeah, from this like this really cool, authentic like antique shop in Chinatown, which is going to be prominently featured in this movie, and I just love it, and it relates to Shang-Chi because eh, you know anybody who's seen a lot of the Shang-Chi comic book covers, dragon iconography is closely linked with that character.
Well, guess whose mic just died?
Hmm.
You already know, Diego. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I had this old mic, and I finally got it working for the podcast, and then it decided to not work for the podcast. Um, so I'm gonna stick with the headphones. I don't have a fancy desk mic like you do, but it's fine. It's fine.
So
Sorry
yeah,
for the interruption.
sorry to be such a snobbish Mike elitist.
Oh no, you're holding me to a higher standard. I just have to meet it.
We digress. So yeah, I was hoping to see more of that side of the movie from this trailer, but clearly they wanted to emphasize more of some of the more fantastical parts of it, which is fine. But I just wanted to put that out there because it was really cool to just walk around. I mean, not just because it's a really cool city and there's lots of cool stuff to see there, but just really cool to walk around in these different locations that I know are going to be featured in this movie when it comes out in a few months. That was really neat. But yeah, it's what really excites me about this is, and we talked about this a little bit in our test episodes, is I'm a big fan of kung fu movies, from your classics like, Enter the Dragon, Big Trouble in Little China, to the more modern stuff like with the Ip Man films. I don't know if you've seen those, but they're
Not Ip
outstanding.
Man, but I've seen some of them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Donnie Yen,
Crouching Tiger,
outstanding.
Hidden Dragon. That's a
Oh my
little
God.
more on the fantastical side, but
Yeah,
well, Amazing.
fantastic. Yeah, love all that stuff. And I mean, you can just tell that we're going to get so much of that in this. I mean, this is going to pull so heavily from a lot of those things, particularly Big Trouble in Little China. Like when we're in that like ancient China battle with those like lion beasts jumping around, like that reminds me a lot of the more fantasy side of stuff that we got in a movie like Big Trouble in Little China, on top of just fantastic fight choreography, which we got a bit of that in this, and we got a bit of that in the teaser as well. So
Yeah, seeing like there's one scene where he's like kind of falling down the scaffolding,
mm,
like hitting each rung and doing like different flips and things. Like that is straight out of kind of those old kung fu, stunt movies.
yeah, it's awesome.
Which, speaking from like a larger kind of Hollywood perspective, I miss those kinds of movies. That stuff's
Yeah.
cool. And I know there's less of them because it's dangerous for stunt people
Mm.
and it's less risky to just have a CGI person fall, but man, if the like the both the effort and the love that they put into those stunts, that those stunt people like do into their performance,
Oh,
if that doesn't come across, I don't know what does, because it's
yeah.
just amazing, and I really miss that.
Oh yeah. I
But
mean,
it'll be nice to see some homage from this movie.
oh yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, and I take movies like the Ip Man series and John Wick as well from the Western perspective as proof that, I mean, when you can showcase incredible martial arts and incredible fight choreography, people will care and people will turn out to support that, because I mean, it is. You just don't get so much of that anymore. Between, we had all the shaky cam stuff in the 2000s into the
Big Bourne
2010s.
movies, yeah.
Wait, yeah, which is just lazy in my opinion. And as you said, with CGI, taking over a lot of stuff that happens with stunts now, you know, there is a huge appetite for just really old school, competently done, great martial arts and great fight choreography. And it just adds so much impact to your movie when you can have that and showcase that.
And
So
it's also action that occurs on like a human level. Because
yeah,
like, some of these Marvel fight scenes are really cool, but at the same time, it's like, these are all superpowered beings. You don't really get a genuine feel for, you know, how hard someone is hitting or how hard someone is getting hit,
yeah,
whether something hurts or not, or just knocks them back. You don't get a sense of that. But when you see like actual stunt people going through fight choreography, you see someone get like slammed in the chest and then fall back on the floor. Like, what that feels like. You can imagine what that feels like. And
definitely.
watching that impact in full in a single cut is super impactful.
Definitely, definitely. And I mean, my mind immediately goes to Black Panther as an example, because Black Panther is an MCU movie where you have great characters in a conflict you really care about, and they're fighting, but it's the emotional impact is completely held back because it was just a CGI fest for 20
Yeah,
minutes.
it looked janky as hell.
Yeah, and so, and we've seen that with a lot of Marvel movies. Some have done it better than others. I think of like for instance, like Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home. I like how they handle the action, that feels a little bit more grounded and realistic. Um,
I mean, you see Spider-Man actually getting injured.
yeah, and the
He's
Captain
like
America
covered in
films
dust and
too.
blood, and it's like you don't see that as much. The Captain,
Yeah,
yeah. So all the films that like Falcon and Winter Soldier did a really good job of this, and
great
and
fight, like
Captain
really
America.
surprisingly good fights in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, because it's like, it's that human element. Like, sure, they're super strong, but it's not superpowers. It's not like energy shooting at them. It's like
Right.
someone took their fist and put it in that person's face. You know what that
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can imagine what it would feel like if they were a super soldier and punched you into a pillar and then you died.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the show, but um I do want to transition a little bit. You brought up Black Panther, which I thought was a really interesting comparison because, that was kind of the first Marvel movie to have a nearly all black cast, which was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And it looks like this movie is going to have a nearly all, if not completely all, Asian cast.
Yeah.
Um, I think I don't know what your thoughts are on the change in representation, but I feel like given all the Asian American hate that's been going on, this movie is actually coming out at a great time.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean I mean, of course, we can only speak from the perspectives that we
Yeah,
ourselves occupy, so
yeah.
please take our comments with that caveat, you know, white man and black man talking about
Yeah. Provide your
Asian
thoughts in the
representation.
comments. Tell us what we should know
Absolutely, but
in the comments.
yeah, but I will say this. I mean, I completely concur. I think that this is very timely. I think it's great. I think that this movie really does have the potential to capture the moment, very much in the way that Black Panther did 3 years ago now. That movie really became not just another installment in the ongoing Marvel story, but a real cultural touchstone,
Oh yeah.
to the point where it even got nominated for Best Picture at that year's Oscars. And I think that this movie could really be a very similar moment. I think that yeah, I think one thing's for sure. I mean, just the fact that it exists and you have a massive high profile movie of this budget, with a virtually all Asian cast is just it's fantastic representation. But I think that we're beginning to see this is just the next big step in that turn where we're seeing where that's just going to become more common across the board.
Yeah.
Really, it began with also 3 years ago, the rom-com Crazy Rich Asians, and that was a big hit. That was a big hit that came out of nowhere, more or less. Um, and now and now you're starting to see more films like that, and culminating in this. You had Minari nominated for Best Picture this past year.
Hmm.
Obviously, we Parasite, a South Korean film that won last year. Yeah, I think that we're starting to see that paradigm shift from where it used to be. Back in the day, you had, Bruce Lee and martial arts films, and that was great, but they were very kind of limited in scope. Like that was the one space where you were really, where you would that was the one place where you can really expect to see predominantly Asian casts. And
Yeah,
then,
and like one of the things I studied, I took a class my freshman year that was um it's basically a class on detective
mhm,
fiction, and one of the things we talked about was sort of in this earlier time period, especially around like World War II, when you had the Japanese internment camps, which were really unfortunate, but you had these Asian Americans cast as like the bad guy.
mm,
You'd have like the sneaky Chinaman, which is just incredibly offensive. But I think that also came across in a lot of detective films too
yeah.
when they were being developed, because that was just like a character stereotype. So now to actually see Asian American heroes, people we can root for, who are actually like main characters also, because we got I forget her name, but in Age of Ultron we had that like South Korean um doctor.
Mm.
She was like helping develop Ultron's body.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
And then like Mantis is Asian cast, but she's an alien, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But other than that, like we haven't really had much. So this is kind of a nice breath of fresh air.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it really, not only is it just great in general, I'm glad they're doing it, and certainly about time, but also I think it has the potential to really be a touchstone in the way that Black Panther was. Will it capture the same emotional gravity that Black Panther did? Maybe. Admittedly, I don't know. I mean, because Killmonger was really a lightning in a bottle. I mean, Michael B.
Yeah.
Jordan provided quite possibly, I think, in a lot of people's minds, the best performance we've seen of any Marvel villain. So that's a tough order to fill, but it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I think it would be really nice to see this kind of become that cultural icon. I mean, obviously, I'm only coming from my perspective,
Mm,
but I get the sense that one, this isn't going to be as big as Black Panther because I feel like Shang-Chi as a character just isn't as well known.
Mm.
But two, kind of from a societal standpoint, I feel like the Asian American struggle has often been discounted
It's true.
because there are all these harmful stereotypes about them being the model citizen.
Yeah.
People don't really take their struggle as a minority seriously at all,
It's true.
and that could play into box office sales and just I don't know. There's only one way to find out, and that's to go see the movie. And
Yeah.
if you want to support you know um an Asian cast, go watch Shang-Chi.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
I know
so
I will. So
yeah, no, yeah, we're definitely going, but it's a Marvel movie, so
yeah.
again, they as we've said before, they could put Tony Stark eating a ham sandwich for 40 minutes and pay to see it. But but yeah, this trailer was great. Again, didn't really build on my hype, but definitely sustained it. Where I'm still very much at the same level of excitement going into September. Looking forward to it. Looking really good, and yeah. Here we go, Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Got my dragon ready to go. Don't think I can take this into the theater, but I'll try. All right, well,
So,
everybody. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna make a joke about how I'd walk in with some like martial arts stuff, but
Yeah, that they
that definitely wouldn't be allowed.
yeah, no. I guess if you could maybe fit some nunchucks, if you can, I don't know, you can hide them someplace. But yeah, your fellow moviegoers might not be too appreciative of the jangling
Yeah.
or throwing stars. But yeah. I wouldn't recommend actually throwing them though at your in your theater. Maybe save that for after. Maybe save that for dinner after. That'd be a cool party trick.
I'll just wear a bunch of matching bracelets.
Hey, there you go. That's good. Yeah, I think we solved it. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our Shang-Chi trailer reaction. It's really good. We're
Yeah.
excited for it. And I think that's it. So
Yeah.
thank you very much
We'll
for
see you
watching.
at the movies, I guess.
Absolutely. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's the best way to show us that you like what we do. Thank you very much. And have a good day, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.